The social issue I will be talking about today is the gender pay gap in sports. There are many controversies in the world when it comes to men and women, especially in our society that we live in today. Throughout history, it has shown that men have always been higher than women no matter what. And this is the same as in the world of sports. Since the 1940s, men have always had greater pay than women due to the fact that when it comes to endorsements and sponsorships, male athletes are always targeted the most because they are the most marketable in the world and they produce the most money to big companies. It is also because of the media coverage in sports that more people in the world are drawn to male athletes. Thus, is another reason. This is the main reason why the gender pay gap in sports is so unbalanced and favored towards male athletes. Depending on the sport, the pay gap can vary between 50% and 100%, which is respectable on why female athletes are always feeling discriminated against when it comes to the sports in general. This chart is an example of this for each of the different sports, men and women, and how discriminated women are when it comes to money in the world of sports. It makes sense to the standpoint that male athletes are more interesting, and there's a lot of proven statistics to back that up, which makes sense for businesses and corporations to focus their time and money in male athletes. They are all about the future of their company, and when you put a famous male athlete's face on that particular company, it draws in more investors and endorsements because they feel that male athletes are the most trusted for when they want to put all their money and investment and time into. But this varies on the sport. Forbes stated that the only female athletes that even come close to male athletes is tennis. This is because the big names such as Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and Osaka, they have broken many records and have built a profile on themselves that fits big endorsement companies such as Nike and Adidas because they can trust that these few women athletes can change the way of sports. In years throughout sports, women have been overlooked consistently by male athletes, and it's honestly unfair because just like how male athletes produce a lot of the world's greatest athletes, women athletes produce almost the same amount. If it was up to me, I wouldn't necessarily have the women's paid the same as males, but I would have the gender pay gap way closer than the numbers show to this day. I do feel like women get overlooked in society, and it's not fair to women who put all their time into training and working out just as much as male athletes do. This is almost the main cause in professional and collegiate sports that because of the pay inequality, women athletes lose their love and drive to push themselves to get better. And this leads to future women athletes not wanting to participate in male dominant sports because it's unjust. An example of this is the US women's national soccer team. During the FIFA World Cup in 2018 and 2019, the US women's national team have far exceeded the men's soccer team, who didn't even come close to qualifying for the World Cup, which is very troubling because that same year, the US men's soccer team as a whole still had a greater pay than the woman who actually won the FIFA World Cup that year and deserves some type of equality, especially since the United States men's soccer team haven't been in the World Cup in years. Due to this, it led the U.S. women's national team to suing this franchise for institutionalized gender discrimination and equal pay in 2019. I feel like a solution to this would be pay transparency, which is a way that women athletes could know what they are being paid and would make them more aware that they are making less than male athletes, which will open up a path for women athletes all over the world to take a stand and hopefully change the way that females are viewed in the world of sports. But this has to come down to more women athletes making a difference in the world, and it starts from famous female athletes. It can't just be a few. The whole community of women's sports has to take a stand for equal pay, which will hopefully make a change in the future for women's sports. In conclusion, even though I am a male athlete in today's society and I play one of the most male dominant sports in the world, I still look at both sides, which means I do agree that women pay range when it comes to sports should increase more because of how valuable women athletes are. And I feel like if more women focused on making a stand for that right, that in the future it will happen. I'm not sure if it will ever. I'm not sure if it will be like they will ever have equal pay because of how people do understand that male athletes are always going to bring in endorsements and business to that sport. Women train and work out just as much as the men athletes do, and they do. So much for the world that should not get overlooked. They have dreams and desires just like us males have, and it's important to see their perspective in sports also. But one thing I can say is that the pay range will increase, but women in today's society needs to make a stand that they believe in for all this to happen. I also think that male athletes, especially ones who are dating or married to women athletes, should help with this because it not only benefits women inequality, but it will help our society as a whole, especially everything that is going on in the world. We just have to keep fighting and wanting it more than ever, and it's important that we unite as one and take a stand for the better of our future.